how bad could this really be? I picked up one of these cameras off of Temu to see just how good it was. The battery no longer holds a charge, so I keep it plugged in. And if you're gonna invest in this bad boy, consider the boot up time here. But here at the main menu, we have a few options. And for today, we're gonna stick with just video. This is 1080p at 30 frames, so it doesn't get much better than that. Let's rig this thing out. At the bottom of the camera here, we have 1/4 20 thread, which I drilled myself. I wish there were 2 here for greater support, but 1 will have to do. So we're just gonna attach a cheese plate here, followed by this NPF battery that runs into the camera here on the right via micro USB. Another small issue is the lack of a flip out LED screen. So yeah, you'll want to keep this in mind when shooting. And then for media, it takes 1 micro SD card. This actually failed on me today, just absolutely corrupted, wouldn't even pull up. So that's a relief because today I wasn't shooting for a client, so that's nice. And then we'll attach a quick release plate for the tripod and gimbal. And there we go. We've got our fully rigged out Temu camera. So for this first test, we're gonna set up a tripod for a close-up shot of myself sitting in front of this window. And it's just gonna be naturally lit. So the dynamic range is gonna be tested in both of these cameras to see how it handles extreme brights and the darker tones on my face. And then I shot this scene with both cameras, and we're gonna do a blind test to see if you can tell the difference between the two. So here we have camera A on the left and then camera B on the right. Go ahead and make your guess. So yeah, that one was pretty obvious. Camera A was our underdog and camera B was our Sony. I do want to take a moment to break down some differences between the two. So right off the bat, both windows are overexposed. We have very little information with the Sony, and the auto exposure on the Temu camera decides to darken the entire image, bringing back some detail in the foliage outside. Unfortunately though, that comes at the cost of losing all lighting in my face, so it's just completely lost here, whereas the Sony is able to retain that info. So let's help out the Temu camera here a bit by doing what we can to have more control over the scene. So we're gonna bring in a C-stand and mount this GVM SD300B, which is a great budget light with full control and bicolor options. I have 2 of them and I've been using them this year, and yeah, they've worked great. And this with an Aperture Light Dome SE is just a quick and easy way to get some nice light quick. All right, so for this next test, we have this key light, and we're gonna see how this Temu camera holds up. So again, this is a blind comparison. So let's see if you get it this time. Camera A is on the left, and camera B is on the right. So yeah, a little trickier this time, but camera B was actually the Temu camera. But let's jump into the footage and see what stands out. So although we have some decent skin tones and color science going on here in the Temu, the dynamic range is just coming up short. It's not quite able to keep up with the Sony here. The windows are still blown out, and the chair and shaded part of my face are just completely lost. So with that said, let's move on to our final comparison shot, which I have set up here in the hallway. Kind of an interesting shot, lower angle down the hallway. So take a close look at both shots and make your guess. So this one is kind of a giveaway. The Temu auto exposure took control towards the end there. Everything got dark and the image just fell apart. Just really unfortunate. This test, you can also see the difference in digital noise between the 2 cameras. So something to keep in mind when looking around. And this shot was naturally lit, so both cameras had to deal with the exposure changing with the sun going behind clouds and then coming out. So It was an interesting test there. That one was hard. But I'm not done yet. I want to see how this little guy performs on a gimbal. I've gone ahead and balanced it out, and we're going to take it for a spin out in the neighborhood. So in all seriousness though, of course the Sony camera was going to crush this little Temu guy. It's just fun to have a little satire, a little tease, which camera was better. But I also think it's neat to see just how far cameras have come. And I think a silly comparison like this helps me feel grateful for the equipment I do have. And it's good practice, you know, with lighting, and it helps me appreciate things like full manual control and lenses and things like that. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.